You can walk on water just like Peter did. All you have to do is change your perspective. This video is all about how to walk on water like Peter did, which in our lives is how we can walk over all the trials and difficult situations in our life. In Matthew chapter 14, verses 29 through 31 is a part of the story of Peter walking on water with Jesus. And I believe there's two really good things that we can learn from this and apply to how we can walk on the water in our own life. Verse 29, Jesus says, "Come." Then Peter got down out of the boat, walked on the water, came towards Jesus. But when he saw the wind, he was afraid and began sinking. He cried out, "Lord, save me." Immediately Jesus reached out his hand and caught him. "You of little faith," he said, "why did you doubt?" The first thing I want to note is in verse 29, Jesus gives Peter the invitation to walk on the water with him. Jesus is giving you an invitation to walk on the waters of your life with him. Jesus is giving you the invitation to walk above your circumstances. You can walk over your trials. You can walk over every difficult situation you're in right now. Jesus is inviting you to do that. All you have to do is have the faith that Peter did to walk out on the water and walk above your situations with Jesus. The second thing I want to note is that when Peter took his eyes off of Jesus, that's when he started to sink. See, the issue in our lives isn't that we have problems. The Bible is very clear that as a Christian, you will have hard times. The issue is our perspective. Because when you look at the world through the wrong perspective and you have your eyes on the wrong things, you start to sink just like Peter did. But when Peter's eyes were on Jesus, when Peter had his gaze focused on Jesus, he was able to stand on the water and walk. It's the same thing in our lives. Whenever we're going through a trial or a difficult situation, whatever it may be, when our eyes are focused on Jesus, we can have joy and peace in that trial, and we can walk on the waters above that trial. But the second we put our eyes on the trial and we put our eyes on the world and we put our eyes on what we can do, then we start to sink like Peter did. We're taking our eyes off of Jesus. So simply put, keep your eyes on Jesus to stay walking on the water. And finally, the third thing I would like to note is that the water never changed. I only had us read verses 29 through 31, but if you go back to verse 22, where the story starts, you will notice that Jesus left the disciples on that boat to go and be by himself, knowing that the boat was going to wander away from shore. Meaning the waves were already there. Before Jesus ever went out walking on that water, the waves were already moving the boat with the disciples on it. What does that teach us? The waves of life are just guaranteed. Life's gonna be difficult as a Christian. But what you need to know is that through those difficult waves, you can still keep your eyes on Jesus. Again, the waves they didn't change. Before Peter started walking on the water, the waves were the same. While Peter was walking on the water, the waves were the same. When Peter started sinking, the waves were still the same. So what changed isn't the waves. The circumstances in life, you're always going to go through difficult circumstances in life. What can change is your perspective. What changed was Peter keeping his eyes on Jesus, and when Peter took them off Jesus, he started to sink. So if you take anything away from this whole video, I want you to remember that keeping your eyes focused on Jesus and not on the world is what's going to directly affect the way that you view the trials in your life. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked this video, click the playlist below where I have many other videos just like this one. If you would like to support my ministry, there's a link in the description with many different ways you can give. Thank you for watching this episode. God loves you. Stay blessed.